everybody. It's Michelle.
And this is Julie. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Jules.
How's it going?
It's good.
Good. Hey, we're here on Labor Day weekend.
I know.
And for our audience, who knows how frustrated probably I can get those damn dogs. I cannot keep them busy enough to keep them out of our studio.
Mm-hmm. We've got bones with peanut butter on them. We're doing, I don't know, all kinds of things, but
Hopefully that gives us a little bit
that's
of...
the occasional tippy tap that you might hear sometimes in the background. That's just little Harlow.
That's little Harlow, and then the other one that's biting, whatever. Well, you know what? So much for that.
I know, yeah, but Labor Day, back to that.
Yeah.
If you're going to wear your white pants, you better wear them today because,
Are you following those rules?
I don't anymore, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So
It's winter white after that. But what did I wear last night?
white pants.
White pants, girl. You got that.
Yeah.
White pants. I wore a shirt that had white in it.
Yeah,
I
like breaking rules.
high heels. Well, it's Labor Day.
Yeah, I'll probably be wearing white pants next week.
So here's the deal. If the weather stays good, then I might break them out once or twice more.
why
Maybe
not?
my white shorts.
It's not the calendar doesn't rule our life. You know
I
that.
know. But you know what's so funny is it's September and my mind automatically starts shifting.
I know.
Even if the weather's good, I start shifting to, oh gosh, football's starting.
Yeah.
And then fall.
I mean, I woke up today and wanted soup. I was thinking sweatshirts and soup. I don't know why. It's just it's gray. I know y'all think Seattle's always like that, but it's not. But today there's a breeze. It's just definitely a shift. Even when the weather's good, you can feel the shift. So shift happens.
So let's shift happen over to our topic.
I know, right?
Yeah. I've been dying to do this one.
She has been dying to do this one. So here we are.
Here we are in our 50s.
Yep.
Feeling like it would really be helpful for people who are in our listening audience to have a little of the 411 on the slang out there. 411, FYI, means information. 811 means it's an emergency without anybody dying.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know what 911 means, right? So anyway, just a little bit on that lingo.
So all the deets of the 411. Here we go.
And funny enough, there is some of this language that we actually might use on occasion.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Yeah, it's super familiar. Or we've heard, people saying it, but also we have kids who are in their 20s and 30s and even into your 40s. I think a lot of this stuff is language that's out there.
It's funny. You just said kids, and I just thought of another term that isn't in any of these that we're going to be bringing up. But yeah, it's true. You have the kids. So
what was the other one?
Cuddy. I had to add, it means cousin.
Yeah.
You're Cuddy. Yeah,
You're Cuddy?
Anyways, yeah.
Like Cuddy?
You just, I don't know how you
like
spell
kid,
it.
Like Kid Cudi?
I don't.
Kid Cudi is an artist.
But it's like cuz. Yeah, Cuddy. What up, Cuddy? That's your cousin. Yeah. Anyways.
I laugh sometimes when I hear some people, we shall not name names, but I'm like, what the hell did he just say? I'm supposed to know some of these things, but I don't know all of them. So I just have to ask. Luckily, I can ask. My most favorite one,
of course,
is the phenomenon that has been going on the last couple of years or so. And that is the name of Karen being used to describe middle-aged white women, probably with a inverted bob, carrying their Starbucks, driving their Land Rover, and complaining about whatever they want to the manager.
Perceiving as entitled, demanding beyond what is normal.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, so this actually kind of started out with, and we saw it during the pandemic, during the whole BLM movement and stuff, is when I saw it really come to the forefront, because you'd see these video clips of these
I know.
white women, that I'm just like, you're embarrassing me, lady.
Yeah.
Calling out people who weren't even doing anything wrong.
Yes.
Who were like trying to go into their own apartment building, but they were being stopped.
Those, yeah.
Just horrible stuff like that.
Yeah.
So being called a Karen is not a positive thing. Let's just say. And there's times when, I can say, I'm going to bring out my Julie Krause. What that means is I'm just like, I'm throw down. Do not mess with me.
Right.
Right. It's kind of like when the other version of that would be being a Karen, but it's not reasonable.
Yeah.
Like you're going off on the manager because of something really stupid and frivolous when you're embarrassing your kids because you're doing it.
Yourself and
yourself.
And those around you. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like,
I was at a place over on the east side a couple weeks ago, and I actually took a picture. I couldn't believe it. It was hilariously funny. A sign that they had behind the counter that said, I think it was 35 days since the last Karen incident. They actually changed it, kind of like you see on the roads when there's an accident. They keep track of how many
we have
accidents.
That at work. So many days since, for safety.
Yeah.
Since there's been an incident. Yeah.
Yeah. So many days since the last Karen incident. And so
that's
a lot
funny.
It was a bar. It's it's a kind of like a sports bar, this place. So it's like where I'll probably go maybe watch the Hawks games, out of town Hawks games or something. It looks like it's got a pretty fun vibe there. But I just laughed when I saw that because some drunk woman came in and said her drink wasn't right or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, Karen. So you'll hear that.
Yeah. And if somebody says to you, okay, Karen, just know that's not a positive thing.
Right. I feel really bad for people who are actually named Karen. Didn't you tell me one time that you knew someone who had changed their name?
I thought you told me that.
Oh, someone told me. I thought maybe it was you, but they weren't using their first name. I think they might have changed to using their middle name or something.
Yeah.
Because so the name Karen became really popular in the 60s, which is when we were born. Mm-hmm. And I don't really know anybody named Karen
I do.
Up close and personal.
I do.
But that was definitely a popular name back then. So it kind of transitions to the age group.
Yeah.
Where you see the, 40-something, 50-something woman who thinks that she's needs to be heard and
entitled and demanding.
Yeah. I'd say probably the feeling I have when I hear that is the entitlement aspect of things. Like a woman
for sure.
A woman or whomever is very privileged, entitled, and, used to getting their way.
Beyond what's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so is there a male version to this?
Well, there are some male versions. Chad is a very similar one. Chad would be maybe a little bit younger. Kyle. Those names are being used, thrown around. You just don't see it much in guys as you do in women for whatever reason. It's like if you see a guy behaving that way, it might be like at his kid's soccer game when he's going off on the ref or something.
Got it.
That would be what I would kind of envision, or getting into things that are not his own business, or being really trivial about stuff and creating a big drama.
So Karen, Chad, and all the relatives.
Karen, Chad, and all of their relatives. They go different generations.
I don't want to be in that family.
No, and I don't want to be called Karen either. Mm-hmm. And for all of you women out there named Karen, we're just apologizing in advance for your...
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, for your feelings on this topic. Yeah. And maybe now you're going to go by Karen or something. So anyway, it's definitely a negative term. And it's one that kind of applies to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our age group,
not us, not our behavior. Yeah, our age group. It came out, as from what I understand, it came out around that 2017 mark, and is really associated with the age group of baby boomers, as I mentioned.
I did a reel. I think I did a reel once about how I'm not a boomer. I'm from Gen X, Generation X. And anyways, I go on to talk about all the things, why Gen X is like the best. Mm-hmm. And somebody in the comments, they said that. They were like, okay, Karen.
But see, but you're not being argumentative.
No, and that was just a reel. So there was no like conversation, or it's not like I was, but just that, that direct demanding,
this is the way it's going to be
of information. Yeah.
And see this pretty Karen. Little blonde lady in her 50s going, okay, Karen. Yeah. So that's kind of when it came around, but millennials and Gen Zers are the ones that kind of have coined that. And really, it is directed towards people more in that baby boomer generation. And the thought process behind that is that they're looking at boomers as being more closed-minded and kind of behind the times, not really wanting to keep up with what's going on in the generations today, and being kind of snippy about it to others.
There's a lot to keep up with. Yeah. There wasn't so damn much to keep up with. We wouldn't have to get snippy about all of it.
Right. I would agree.
Okay, Karen.
So unprogressive views on things like gender, sexuality, youth culture, like really not trying to understand some of those things, or feeling like those things are just stupid topics.
It's interesting because I feel that our parents went through the same thing with us. in a
Probably.
different, trying to keep up with all the change through the 70s and
You can't listen to any of that
80s.
music.
Yeah,
It
it's
has
just
the
like
devil in it.
all of the things
Yeah.
so it's a lot of similarities there.
I think differences now are that people have so much exposure to so many other
Yeah,
things. And
for
so
sure.
this whole Karen thing has been a meme.
Yeah.
And can you explain a memes for people that might not know what that is?
Well, it's like a humorous take on serious topics.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's usually done with some kind of photo where
Yeah.
there's a caption or
Photo,
something.
video. Yeah.
So anyway, lots of Karen memes out there, and they're actually kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I truly have seen that, and I'm just like, oh shit. I suppose I've been that way too. If I feel really strongly about something or I need to deal with something, it's like I'm not going to apologize for it, but I'm not going to be disrespectful and
Right.
putting my waggling finger in someone's face either.
Yeah. Well, and I just go back to the entitled part,
Mm-hmm.
the entitlement error that can come about when you're maybe having a Karen incident, not you, but when someone's having a Karen incident. I think that's when it's truly a Karen, is the entitlement aspect.
Yes,
But
because they feel like they can
yes.
call that out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same time when I see those incidents, I think of, wow, that's kind of a first world problem.
Yeah.
And when I think of first world problems, I'm like, we're worrying about things that have absolutely no relevance or putting energy into things that are really not that big of a deal in the big scope of things.
Yeah.
So first world problem, we deal with much less horribleness in the US than in other places, I suppose.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard of the term Becky?
I haven't heard of that term,
Okay.
Becky.
So I have, which it's actually,
This was a new one for me.
which surprised me because it's in a Beyonce song. Yeah. But
I
again,
mean, to the left. I got that one, but
everything you own in a box to the left. Yeah. No, Becky is like a term. So what I had understood originally was that she had this in her song. And this was like when there was this whole thing about Jay-Z being his infidelities and everything. And so she's calling out Becky with the good hair, meaning it's just some white girl, privileged white girl, basically, who has her Starbucks and her Uggs and is clueless about racial and social issues and has the pretty hair and is just oblivious
I
to
wonder
what's
if
going
her
on.
name was really Becky.
I don't know.
I know. I
But-
mean, why Becky?
But it's not considered a positive thing to say someone's like a Becky with a good hair. That's all I've heard.
So now, y'all, if your name's Becky,
Here we go.
are you Karen's sister?
Well, it's yeah, I probably
I
maybe
mean,
a little.
again, when you think of the Karen aspect, we're talking about entitlement and being entitled and demanding. And now we're here with Becky, who's clueless about racial and social issues. So
Yeah, that's where some
back
of
to
this.
privilege.
Back to privilege, a whole nother topic, huh?
Yeah.
Which we have obviously lived because
Yeah.
I feel like we have privilege, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's another one?
Clap back.
Clap back.
Clap back.
Have you heard that in songs?
Nothing that comes to the top of mind.
Okay, what about
For me, jaw rule.
Ja Rule?
Oh, clap back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a song, that he had. I haven't really heard people using that, but if you hear someone using it, what their meaning is, it's like retaliation or they're spouting back criticism. They might be considered kind of little mouthing off, I
Yeah.
suppose, because the responses aren't necessarily going to be like mellow responses that would
Right.
be good for discussion. It's just more like I'm clapping back. I'm going to tell them what's on my mind.
Yeah.
That's what I get from that
Yeah.
one. So clap
Opinions.
back. But it's not something that I would ever use. Like I've used Karen and I've never used Becky.
No.
I just know what it is. But I've never used that clap back. That seems like a real young person thing to
Clap
say.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's one that I had not heard before, but is something apparently that came really popular with Gen Z on TikTok recently. And it's chuggy. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that either.
Okay.
Chuggy. What is that?
So chuggy kind of describes anything that's considered to be uncool or untrendy or people who deliberately stick with older trends because that's what their comfort level is. So they're kind of
I guess I'm chuggy.
I'm kind of chuggy too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
old
some
school.
Yeah.
That term comes to mind when you say older trends and want to stick to them.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely old school. I guess I'm chuggy.
Well, or like you see women's houses that have like every single thing in there is a saying. Like they've got a piece of wood on the wall that has a saying, or they've got things on the walls that have sayings.
Yeah.
Like their whole house is filled with sayings.
Live, love, laugh.
Live, love, laugh. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of chuggy because they're just like, they haven't moved out of that stage.
Right.
I guess.
Right.
They're
I
comfortable.
see what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
guess elderly ladies that collect spoons and teacups would be chuggy too.
Or have swags and wreaths.
Sweat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Swags and wreaths.
Yeah, swags and wreaths. Those were definitely a thing in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same with ducks. And,
Yep, geese, yeah.
country.
Yep.
Anyway, definitely
Country,
chuggy.
country, chuggy, all the things.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So this one, my own children have said to me before, and it was really a very derogatory thing, but they said it as a joke, but really they didn't probably mean it as a joke. When we're talking about something and I'm asking them a question or asking for clarification or something.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. So just so you know, everybody, boomers are considered to be, the last year of the boomers is 1964.
Right.
And then the first year of Gen X is 1965.
Yep.
So when someone says, okay, boomer, they're really referring to you being like old fashioned, not up with the times, still have AOL email.
Yeah.
Instead of, Gmail or something like that. They write everything down on little sticky notes instead of using a computer, just old fashioned in their thinking. Maybe they only have a flip phone. They don't know how to use a smartphone, or just their ideas are kind of antiquated. So when my kids said that to me, I was like, oh, hell no, that's not me. I mean, I definitely have things that are about me that are from, how I grew up or what have you, but I don't feel like I'm completely out of the loop on the times.
Well, and it sounds like when I'm looking at some of the information on that term, okay, boomer, it sounds like it's just a way to end a frustrating conversation with somebody with that mindset, like you were explaining.
It's sarcastic, though.
And I know that's what I mean. It's like they're not hearing what you're saying, the younger person, to the boomer. The boomer's not really acknowledging what they're saying or understanding it or hearing it, and there's a level of frustration. So then they're just like,
okay, boomer,
okay,
whatever.
Boomer. Yeah. And it's just like,
kind of like my mom saying, you're right. Everything you say is right. You're right. Okay.
That's her way of saying,
that's her.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. When I should say, okay, greatest generationer.
Yeah.
Well, or a boomer could turn it around and say, okay, Gen Zer.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Okay, Zer.
Okay, Zer.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it's really used to kind of talk about people who are of a different generation.
Yeah.
And think differently and tell them, you got to work hard. You got to move up. You got to save your money. You got to, all these kind of things that you would hear from people who were in a different working environment.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with a lot of that stuff.
There we go. Yeah. I'm on the cusp. So I'm like all of that both ways.
I kind of identify more as a Gen Xer, I would say, just because I'm the very early stages of that, the very last stages of the baby boomer generation. So I don't really identify with the baby boomer stuff very much.
Well, yeah. And that Gen X, it's like you were saying, we use paper, we are analog, we can give change back without a computer.
Thank you.
Those kinds of things.
Don't you just want to help the people?
I
want to help the people at the store. Go, let me show you how to do that.
Yeah, just count it back in your head.
Like they can't figure it out. Like if you give them a penny so you can round it and make it so you don't get a bunch of pennies.
That's a struggle.
Oh my God. It just makes me feel so bad for these kids going, dude, what did you do in school?
Yeah, they've made it so we don't need to use our own computer. We have to rely on technology.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm very proud of the fact that I can count the change back,
me too.
I guess. So have you ever been ghosted?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a particular thing. I've been ghosted by my kids.
What about your friends?
But probably at times where it has felt that way, I'm sure.
That's a term. So ghosting is kind of a term that's come up more in the dating world, actually.
Yeah, it's more referenced in dating.
And when you have people who are living behind screens or not really communicating in person, it's just basically a drop off in communication. Or and with texting, you've probably seen this where it's like kind of a back and forth thing, or where a conversation starts and how it ends, and then who is the one to initiate the next conversation. And there's all these things about texting, which I think we're going to get into in another episode we talked about earlier. Which
texting.
Yeah. It's just basically where someone just stops communicating with you and you don't really know why.
Yeah.
You don't really know if
no explanation.
No explanation. There might not really be one. It kind of is kind
of a mind fuck.
It is. Yeah. And it's a little bit of an indication on how our society is today. There's just, okay, here I'm starting to sound like a boomer for a second, but there's just common freaking courtesies that you give people. Not to say that I've never done it, because I'm sure I have, but I really try to make an effort with people to do a follow-up with them or to say thank you or whatever the case may be, because I just don't play that game, or I don't want to play that game. And I certainly don't want someone playing it with me, but it's a thing. It's totally a thing. I think with the younger generations, it's really not considered as offensive. Like it just happens.
It's a thing. And it is what it is.
I know, but it just, I don't know, makes me think, wow, I think maybe I just dodged a bullet by having that person as a friend, or maybe I just dodged a bullet because I'm not going to go out with that person.
Well, I think too, generationally, it probably has carried over for us to feel the way we do, to where there, for whatever reason, the need seems to be there for finality, whether it's in a conversation or a relationship or whatever it might be, because that's what we're used to. But circumstances are such now, just like not having to give, count back change in your head, things that don't necessarily aren't a part of this up and coming generation. And it's just easier. I think how texting is easier and communication is easier than face-to-face communication. So it's just easier to just like drop off.
Yeah. But I mean, even seeing people our own age are doing it.
Yeah, I know.
Like we've got, I can think of a couple circumstances, one with a friend or, who I had thought was a friend, and just bailed, completely ghosted. So I'm not dating that person, but that was, and then circles back. Like they circle back. And so with dating, I think you see it a lot where people will do that and then they circle back within a couple of weeks. And it's like, obviously there's something going on
taking their attention.
They've been talking to someone else, or they've been doing whatever. And then they circle back. Oh, hey, my phone was broken, or blah, blah. I'm just like, oh, I don't think so. That doesn't work for me. Anyway, ghosting is a thing. And try not to get your feelings hurt if it happens. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the person who's making the decision to not communicate. That's how I look at it.
Rejection with no explanation.
Exactly.
There it is.
So you can't, if you really were not careful or weren't secure in yourself, you could really have some issues with that.
Yeah, that would be, well, like I said, I think it is a mindfuck.
Yeah.
Like, it is.
Yeah.
And it's not nice. So.
But I don't know that people are doing that because they want to mindfuck somebody else.
No, I don't think that they are. That's
they just don't give a shit about.
The intention of ghosting is not to do that, but that is
kind of what happens. Yeah. So when you say, here, let's move on to the next one. When you say, oh my gosh, that guy has such a good vibe, or oh, that restaurant has just the best vibe. When I say that, what do you mean? What do you think I mean?
Good. It's a good feeling.
Or like let's say like a restaurant and stuff. It's like, or a car, like you're driving in a car and you're just like, oh, such a good vibe because you're just like loving the car or whatever. So when you have a really good vibe with somebody, that means you're just connecting and get along with them.
Leveling up. It's high key.
Leveling up.
Did you see how I just like threw that in there? Like, that's just what it is.
So when I hear leveling up, that's not even on here, but when I hear leveling up, I think of the gym, because
that's the name of your gym, isn't it?
No.
Is there a gym though?
No, my gym's called Fit Theorem, but when they're at the gym, they're going, okay, if you're going to level up, you got to do blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, shit, I guess I can't do it this way. I'm going to try to do it this way or whatever. So leveling up is just taking it to the next level.
Step, yeah.
But having a good vibe or having a bad vibe, it's like bad jujus, whatever. To me, that's a very common word I use a lot. I don't know how other people are with it, but when I've got a good vibe with somebody, it just means I like have a good feeling about them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Get along with them. Yeah. So that's definitely something I'm high key about.
Vibing.
You're vibing.
You're vibing. Whether it's high or low, you're vibing.
Okay. So let's talk about high key and low key for a second. So
that's where I threw that in there. I know. It's like leveling, like it feels good. You're leveling up. It's high key.
I'm just cracking up. I've never heard her say high key before. I hear, Zoe all the time, and Andrew, I hear them all the time say low key.
Yeah,
like,
low key.
I'm just low key pissed.
Yeah.
Or I'm just, low key happy, or, I'm just, so I've heard them say that before, but never have heard somebody say high key.
Really?
And it's literally just kind of like the opposite of, it's like you're totally.
I feel like high key is like, it's a lot. And when you're low key, it's like low on the down low. You're just like low key chilling today.
Yep.
Like low key.
When you want to keep something chill, you want to keep something, kind of just there. It doesn't have to be, but when you're talking about high key, it just means elevating something that you want to have heard. So if you're saying I'm high key stressed right now, that would just mean I'm kind of over the top.
Yeah.
and we better watch it, maybe give them a little space,
right,
kind of a thing. But again, I really haven't heard people using that, but if someone uses it now, you'll know what it means, right?
Yeah. I think I have used hikey.
Well, you just used it today.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
What about when you're not trusting someone?
They're sus.
Sus.
Yeah.
There you go. It's like when that intuition is speaking to you and you feel that knot in your gut, that's when you pay attention.
Tilting your head sideways and giving them a weird eye. That's like they're kind of sus, meaning you don't necessarily believe what they're saying.
Put your finger on it. You don't know specifically, but definitely
you're not getting the whole story.
Suspicious or AKA sus.
Yeah. Which I've definitely heard.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Okay, so we've heard this before with, actually, when we were coming up with names for the podcast, this came up, and of course it's because Zoe was probably helping us, but tea.
Oh, yeah, tea.
Yeah, when we talk about the tea, she's like, give me all the tea that's happening. It's basically gossip.
Gossip, spill the tea.
Spill the tea.
What's going on?
I want to hear all the deets, all the details of what's going on. So if you hear someone saying, hey, give me the tea, it's like, give me the 411 or give me the details kind of a thing. That's what tea means. So where did you think that first even came out? Because I had not heard that until the last couple of years.
Well, when I looked it up, comes from the 80s and 90s, something called ball culture, which is where LGBTQ people perform in drag competitions.
Wow.
To celebrate their queerness.
Okay.
So
that was kind of an early use of the term, and now it's turned into
tea. Yep.
Something different. Okay, what's another one?
Glow up.
Glow up. When I was thinking of glowing up, I was thinking of elevate yourself or highlight yourself.
Which, I mean, it can be.
It can be, right.
It's a version of that.
But that's not what the intent necessarily has been, right? So what would it be?
The idea that as you are growing older, you're only becoming more fabulous.
Right.
So glow up, not just growing up, but it's like a whole other level. You're fabulous, amazing. And I think too, with those feelings of confidence or fabulousness comes the glow up of having photographic confidence as well. Now, I only say that because I read that about the term in regard to this. So, but it makes sense.
So it's like exuding your confidence too. Like, or you're adulting really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've kind of gotten it to the next level, like you said.
And I think the photographic confidence probably comes from just, again, in this day and age, there's so much of that goes on on social media,
right, with
life and 50 and fabulous and glow up. And it's definitely a term.
It's a term.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about shook? That one has been around for a while.
That has been around for a while.
Yeah. It was popular in the 90s with hip hop and R&B and stuff, and just basically means you're just shaken by something. It could be better or worse. It's like it surprised you. You're, shook. Well,
and back in the day, it really shaken up. That, I mean, when you're talking about something like that, an event or, circumstance, and it just really shook me up. So it's just essentially taking all the other words off and just shortening it to the shook.
Yeah. I'm
shortening
just so
it to the shook.
Yeah, I'm just like distraught or upset or whatever. So again, same as shook up. Here's one that I've seen before: salty. Like when someone is salty. Yeah,
I like that term.
I do too.
I've just become familiar with that over the last couple of years. Actually,
really,
I think it's been around for a long time.
It just makes me think of a curmudgeon-y old man.
Salty. See, I think of a curmudgeon-y old woman.
Really?
Yeah.
Like salty, someone who's got that spit and vinegar, as Michele likes to hear. They're salty. They don't have a lot of soft edges.
Well, and it's typically, you can tell when somebody's upset or something like that, and somebody would describe them as being salty about it.
Yeah, they're pissed off.
Yeah.
So, and I do hear that quite often. Okay, so here's a really fun one that it's been around quite a bit in the last couple of years. It's called woke.
I liked it at first, but I'm tired of it now.
I'm really tired of it now.
Yeah, it's like not cool to be woke.
No, being woke now is something that, what I've noticed lately is more of a
politically charged.
Yes. Like there's a conservative agenda that speaks about the left wing wokeness. Which means it's like really far left wokeness, like kind of over the top, as opposed to the other direction, which is over the top fundamentalists or over the top conservatism. So that's when you hear people talk about that, like on podcasts or talk radio or, anywhere. When they say woke, woke agendas, they're talking about extreme left agendas now. And it's really bringing to the forefront, like a lot of the stuff that happened during the pandemic with BLM and with all of the racial inequality and just everything that was taking place. And where I think it maybe even took more of a turn was when we've got a lot of white people who are speaking about history, wokeness, because we're not living that same world as an individual who's going through it. So were we like the white messiahs? Were we woke like the white? Have you ever heard that white messiah? Oh yeah. I've heard that, where it's like, white people are out there with the banners and the whole bit, sticking up for their brothers and sisters, but they're white. So they don't necessarily understand.
Right.
So they're woke, but it's not necessarily
they're half asleep.
Yeah. Well, they're as woke as they can be without having the experiences to be woke, I suppose, right?
But I did learn when we were doing some research on this stuff that Erykah Badu, who I love, she had a song back in 2008, which was a long time ago. Master Teacher is the name of the song. It's believed to be where that term was first uttered in the mainstream, was from that song. So if you haven't heard it, I mean, take a listen if you like Erykah Badu. She's a badass. But
this was something that she was talking about way back in the day.
Yeah, and it wasn't about left agendas and political stuff or anything like that. It was just about life. And, and she's talking about all these, circumstances and situations in life. And that's, in the background, you hear be woke. Just like, don't be so... with the wool pulled over your eyes, you got to, pay attention to things and really know what's going on. So
it was really more coined that way as an awareness word, not awareness, but it kind of took
not
on... Not
politically, just in life,
So it's taken on much different meaning nowadays, I think, than it did then. But that was the original intent behind it.
Bye.
Felicia. Again, something I've only heard really younger people say, where they're just wanting to, it's kind of like, okay, boomer. It's more like, I'm tired of listening to you. So I'm going like, bye Felicia. But this comes from, where does this come from?
The movie Friday, Ice Cube in 95. Baby. Yeah.
There was a scene or something in there, right?
He used the term in a scene, which, his character in the movie responds to Felicia in something that, I don't know, she was asking. And he was like, that was his way of, ending it. It was just like his term, in the movie, bye Felicia, like, I don't want to hear it. No, you're not. I think he was borrowing a car or something, something like that. That really has taken off and been used. It's a very popular term. Yeah. Bye Felicia.
I think I don't think it's as much now as it used to be. Yeah. Right. But that's definitely something I've heard.
But it's something recognizable. like people know what that is when it's used. Yeah.
Yeah. They like picture someone putting their hand up going, bye Felicia, and then turning around and walking away. That's what I think. No cap. So this is something that, this is a way of saying that there's, okay, Michelle, help me here. No cap means, go ahead.
So then there's no cap, which is essentially going to mean no lie. If you're telling somebody, oh my gosh, your outfit is amazing, no cap. That means like, I'm not even joking. Lying, but no cap means like there's no cap to it that's going to shut that down. It's like all the way forever and all the way up. Like,
it's not hyperbole. There's nobody exaggerating or anything.
Yeah, no cap.
Yep. And it's a synonym, I guess. So think of it as a synonym for the word seriously. Like seriously.
Yeah, seriously, no cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, on fleek. I have not heard before. You said you had.
I'm so surprised you've not heard that.
No.
On fleek. And I don't know why I've heard it. But it's on fleek. It's just like,
so what does it mean?
On point.
Yes.
Like you have got it going on. You're on fleek. Yeah.
This means on point, just another way of saying it.
And however you put that out to fit together, came up with that, definitely on fleek. Yeah. Yep.
Can you imagine using some of these terms? I can't imagine saying that. I would just say, oh my God, it is so on point. Look at you.
Yeah. And it's like kind of like on cap, how it's beyond. Yeah. That's how on fleek is like beyond respectable. Like, that
like
is
you
on
have
fleek.
Yeah.
beyond the normal scope of things. Yeah.
Okay. So I've heard people say this next one.
See, and I haven't.
You haven't?
Yeah.
Okay. So when something slaps, just like when you say, "Oh my God, that slaps," it's more like, "Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. That is so cool." So that's what I would use. Those are the words I use, not slap. But it's like, it's a word used to describe something that's good, something that's impressive, something that's like just over the top.
Slaps.
That just totally slaps.
That one's not familiar to me.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking, you know what I was thinking without reading our notes as to what it is. So I was slaps in my mind. I'm thinking, well, when something's really funny, you like slap, you know, like when you're laughing uncontrollably and you might slap your leg because it's so funny.
That's
just
probably
like
where it came from.
That's what I thought of. I was like, slaps. If something, I was thinking, is it humorous or is it funny? But no, not even close.
It's just like you couldn't ask for better.
Yeah.
You know, like if you have a meal or you're like, "Oh my gosh, that meal just slapped." It would be like, that was the best food ever.
Yeah.
Again, not something I would necessarily say, but that's what it means if you're around people who talk that way. What about slay?
Slay, girl, slay.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, go get them.
Something exceptional. Like, oh, that's interesting because it was talking about how the dictionary defines it as
to kill violently.
Which actually makes sense when you think of how the term is used, because you might like kill is
you killed it.
Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah.
You know, which means that was great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you killed that.
Yeah.
So to slay means like
Same
not
thing.
only did you kill it, but man, you really killed it.
You slayed it.
Yeah, you slayed it.
Yeah.
So
that one, yeah, I've heard that one before. And it's used in a positive way, a really positive way.
Yeah.
So this next one I totally have said before. It's like where, you know, shade basically just means that you're talking shit. It's like you're throwing shade at someone, you're talking shit about them, or you're saying something derogatory to them. So
it's kind of disrespectful.
Yes.
Like if you're throwing shade at some, or if that term, you know, can be used, or phrase can be coined in whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. So if you say no shade, that means no disrespect.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about bae?
Bae.
Yeah.
Bae.
Do you have a bae?
I got a bae.
You got a bae?
A bae boo. Yeah, a boo.
Before anyone else is your bae.
I did not know that. Oh my gosh.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that that's what that stands for.
Yeah.
Before anyone else. So BAE.
BAE.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
This was just mind blown for me
My
right
bae.
now.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a short way of saying babe.
Oh, no. Huh?
Because it's babe without the B.
Oh, maybe that's how it originated or something.
Like, hey, babe.
Again, another term that has come from like Black culture. But yeah, before anyone else.
Sweetheart or baby. I mean, that's it's like stems from that. So I guess it is that, but like the before anyone else, I never knew.
Well, I've heard people, so again, going back to people who are really religious, it's like this term doesn't fly with them.
Why?
Because before anyone else would mean that person's before God. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've heard people not use it for that reason.
Really?
Yeah. And then, well.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. But it's really just, you know,
I mean,
it's just
I get
a term
it
that
from
says,
their perspective.
You're my boo.
Yeah.
It's not like, I haven't heard married people use that term before.
Right. Bae.
Bae. Yeah. No, I'm more here like, you know, people that are in relationships and stuff. They call their person their bae.
We use babe.
Yeah.
A lot. And sweetheart. Babe and sweetheart. Yeah.
Well, that's all you're going to tell us about anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, before anyone else.
Wow, that's something new for me.
You learned something new. Yeah. I actually knew that one, so I feel good about that one.
It stood for.
Okay, so the word snatched, whenever I hear that word, it does not have a good ring with me, because when I hear snatch, I hear women's vaginal body parts.
Vajayjay.
Vajayjays, yeah.
Snatch.
Michelle, did you have it?
We're not telling that story.
Michelle has a story about the word patch and what it rhymes with.
Snatch.
When she was a kid. But she doesn't want to talk about it. I just gave you guys the overview pretty much. Patch was her last name.
Everybody you can use your own imagination on that. Yeah. So
anyway, now it just means like totally put together.
Snatched.
And you're like, oh, they're snatched. Or like a waistline. Like I hear at the gym, they say a snatched waist. It's like where your waist is kind of curvy, where you've got like curves and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You've been able to build your waistline in. It's kind of snatched. That's where I've heard it before. But
I guess I'm genetically snatched. Because I've always had the waistline, but it's that booty, man.
Well-
that's why the way I've always had a waistline that curves. I'm curvy.
Yeah.
So, like I said, genetically snatched. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll hold on to that.
But then again, it goes back to the whole thing about a snatch. And so then I'm just like, I don't know if how
Throws
much
it
I like
off.
that word.
Yeah.
Totally throws it off for me.
That's funny.
You'll never hear me really use that word for that
Nah.
very reason. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do hear that with people. Just know when you hear it, you're going to think of Julie and why she thinks it's a woman's crotch, but whatever.
And Michelle Patch.
And Michelle Patch.
Anyways, yeah.
Have you ever run into a situation, a circumstance that you say is just like so basic?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basic could also mean vanilla.
Basic. Yeah. There's no like life to it. It's just super drab, dull, boring, basic.
Expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like people, when you say someone is just so basic, it means that they maybe they don't have any style of their own, or they are emulating other people's styles. They don't really have their own thing. They're kind of basic. Or in the dating world, when I say vanilla, I don't mean vanilla like sex wise necessarily. I just mean vanilla like,
I just think boring.
I think boring. Yeah. So
Plain.
plain and boring. That's kind of what I think of there.
Basic. Yeah.
Basic. So that is what that means. The goat.
That would be Jules.
Am I the goat?
She's the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
And that was Kobe Bryant.
I know.
That's his term.
Well, there's goats there's goats in a lot of different professions.
for sure.
There's Kobe Bryant for sure. And then there's like the ones that are in the music world. I mean, who would the goat be in the music world, do you think?
Oh,
Who would your goat be?
I don't know. That would take some time to really.
Because there's goats that are from, back in, that kind of started out the music that's there today. There's ones that have had a big influence on today's like music culture that could be considered goats. But like in football, so goat, when it relates to football, actually there is someone that they call the goat and I can't stand him.
Who's that?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah,
That is the one.
I don't know what it is about Tom Brady that people like. Who cares that he had all these championships? I think he was kind of a cheater.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he moves around a lot of different places and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he's considered the goat in football.
Yeah.
Not my goat
Yeah.
at all. I don't really have a football goat.
Well, I'd like to think I'm the mom goat.
You're the mom goat.
Sure.
Yeah, see? So it can be
That
used
kind of
for a
thing.
lot of
Yeah.
different things, but just know it means the greatest of all time, like you're the best. And it doesn't have to be that you're the best, but it has to be that whoever's saying it thinks you're the best.
It came from Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
When he did his boxing, that whole
He was
thing.
all about being the greatest and telling everybody that he was the greatest. So that makes complete
And
sense.
Serena Williams in tennis.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she kind of is the goat in tennis.
is, yeah, for sure.
So, and he was the goat in boxing at the time. There probably are ones that have come up since then, but yeah, he's the one that had coined that originally.
And I think Rick's probably the greatest of all time when it comes to romance.
Aww. She's trying to score points with you, Tate.
Yeah, just throwing it out there.
She's gonna see him next week, so she's scoring points right now. He is the goat.
But yeah, definitely.
He's a sweet goat. Have you ever met anybody who's extra?
Well, actually, I have.
Have you?
Yeah. And
So that is actually the name for someone that I dated.
extra. Yeah.
But a super sweet guy.
Oh, yeah.
But just over the frickin' top in everything that he does.
Yeah.
And gathers
And I guess
attention.
that would be anybody. Like when you think of extra, it's like, okay.
They are so extra.
So extra.
Yeah. Like the person that orders their coffee and has like 5 or 6 different specifics in order to get their coffee correct.
Right.
They're very extra.
A non-fat, skinny, sugar-free.
Little spice of cinnamon, maybe a little bit of foam, but not,
200, like 120 degrees.
Yeah. So, okay, that
Extra.
we use coffee as an example just because there's a coffee place every 15 feet around
We're
here.
here in Seattle, so it's a coffee thing. But
definitely, definitely. And then the extra thing was in the dating, again, going back to the dating world, was just over the top. I don't know how else to describe
Yeah.
it, but it's like, but it kind of worked for him. Didn't work for me. It was too much over the top. It's kind of cute because he doesn't really care what everybody else thinks or does. He just does what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
he's so extra, but he's a good guy.
Whenever I hear that, I'm just like, extra, extra, read all about it.
I think that's like from the 1920s
yeah,
or something.
That's like really, I'm just saying whenever I see that word, that phrase, for whatever reason, like
World War II is over.
extra,
extra, read all about it.
Yeah. Or the gum, extra, extra. No, or there's a TV show, there's extra. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's where you're getting that. She's totally singing the TV song.
Yeah. And talking about the paper.
Yeah.
Mixing generations here. But yeah, anyways.
Have you ever heard anybody say, hey, yeah, that's Gucci?
I haven't.
Oh, see, Zoe does that.
I could see how it could get used, so it totally makes sense to me, but I've never heard anybody use that.
Really? Okay, so Gucci is a designer, as we know.
Yeah.
We have some little items from Gucci here and there, but no, it's just a term that means all good. It's Gucci.
It's all good.
And first time I ever heard anybody use it, it was Zoe.
So it's used in like the way you're feeling about something.
Could be anything, but it's just good.
It's Gucci.
Yeah, it's Gucci.
It's all Gucci. Instead of saying it's all good.
Yeah.
It's Gucci.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now she's going to start saying that to me.
Yeah. Better than coochie. It's Gucci.
Oh my God, Michelle. Is that Gucci with
Gucci. Gucci. It's all good. Gucci.
It's all good. All Gucci.
And then there's bougie.
Yeah. Which, kind of is a little bit of a derogatory term, bougie, because it really connotates someone who's demanding of luxury and fanciness and specialness, and like, I'm too bougie to go camping, because I don't like bugs.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's like, to be like super bougie is not necessarily a good thing. It's someone who's like, kind of, I can just picture it in my head, the face they make, and they look someone up one side and down the other, like they're not good enough to be around them, kind of a thing. So
bouginess.
Bouginess. But there are elements of bouginess that I'm okay with.
Yeah. Well, even in regard to the things, I'm sure there's women out there that have no problem being bougie. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a balance I would strike on.
A balance of bouginess.
A balance of bouginess.
A Gucci of coochiness.
A bouginess and ratchetness, which we'll get into in a second. Okay, so quickly, FOMO, fear of missing out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what FOMO means. Michelle, do you have FOMO?
I do not have FOMO.
Ever?
Nope.
No. I don't really have any FOMO either, except if, say, Macklemore was coming to town and I didn't have tickets.
I used to work with somebody who had extreme FOMO.
So,
like she could not be on social media because it was just too much for her.
Because she'd constantly be on
trying
there?
to keep just like everything, like, yep.
Like I'm going to
missing out on what's going on with people. What's just like all of it, like to every extreme. She had a fear of missing out.
I wonder if that's definitely been coined through the social media epidemic.
Probably.
Because that's really where you're getting a lot of your information.
Yep.
But yeah, fear of missing out. I don't know. As I've gotten older, I don't really fear as much.
Yeah.
I'm just more like, if I get there, I get there.
Right.
If I don't, I don't. If it's something I really want to do, then I'll make sure I make the time to do it.
Because we're not giving as many fucks at this age.
Yes.
Which is why.
Zero. Sometimes I give 1 or 2 fucks, but most of the time it's 0.
So that would be FOMOOF. Fear of missing out on any fucks. Like no fear of missing out. Anyway.
Oh, you are in rare form today, girl. Okay, Gen Zers say this instead of saying cool. What is it?
Fire.
That is so fire.
Yeah.
I heard my 30-year-old say that one time and I looked at him and went, is that like something that a 15-year-old says? But apparently not.
But if you're encouraging him to continue to go to concerts, you should be encouraging him to continue to say fire.
I know. That was actually kind of a hypocritical thing for me to just say just now.
Yeah.
I'm totally owning that.
Pointing it out.
I'm owning it.
Yeah.
It's okay if he says
fire.
Or cray-cray. Although cray-cray means crazy, but the only people I hear saying cray-cray are middle-aged white women.
I know, yeah.
That is not a terminology that I want to use. So we did this one.
And sometimes I just say it like, okay, there's an element of crazy there.
Yeah. She just uses the whole word.
Yeah.
And, or crazy eyes. Like if you see someone and they have crazy eyes, it's like you need to about face and go the other direction.
Quickly.
Instead of saying cray-cray, we just would say that. But that's what that means. We also have a coach at our gym that we call cray.
Oh.
But she's not crazy. She's super nice.
Probably, well, in like a gym aspect. I could see where that could come from.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go back to not giving a fucks. Then there is AF. Like it is, give me an example.
Well, you were talking about crazy AF.
Yeah.
Like,
anything AF is as fuck.
As fuck.
Yeah. It's like, that was epic AF or that was horrible AF or whatever. That means
emphasizing. Just like putting an emphasis on whatever it is.
Yeah. Like this note here, my slice of pecan pie is delicious AF. Like who says that?
Yeah, I don't know who says that. About pecan pie.
How about my extra dirty martini with olives is yummy AF?
I would say it's on fleek.
On fleek. So thirsty. Have you ever heard of a thirst trap?
No.
No? So thirst trap is Instagram.
Okay.
But not really, and TikTok.
Okay.
You don't really see it on Facebook because those are like older people now. They don't have thirst traps. But they're essentially photos that are of women posing scantily clad, making like come get me faces, and guys that are posing with their abs showing. Or remember that one picture that it was a video you sent me of some guy that was like I don't know what he was, but I was like, this guy is fine AF. You were just sending it to me to look at. I'm like, damn, you got to stop sending me those pictures. But
it was a video. It was a video from Instagram.
Yeah. She likes to tease me that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so thirsty just means that you're desperate for someone's approval. These thirst trap pictures are really to get people kind of like, getting their sex hormones going. And so thirsty just means that
or probably just people that are trying to get attention too. Like
it makes them look like they are thirsty. Yeah. Like they want to have, I don't know.
They're thirst trap.
Thirst trap.
Trying to quench somebody else's thirst.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or make them thirsty.
Right.
Okay. What about savage?
Savage is like when you're doing something and you don't even care.
Yep.
It's like a savage.
Unapologetic.
Like, don't even care. Yep.
You should have seen her at work. She was so savage. She had that Microsoft PowerPoint on fleek. Oh my God. Anybody listening to us is going to go, who are these women?
Right. Savage AF.
Savage AF. Okay. But anyway, I have heard people say that, but it's really more kind of like, oh my God, you nailed it.
Killed it.
Yeah. Killed it. So savage.
Slayed it. Savage.
Yeah. But are you ratchet?
Oh gosh.
While you're doing it?
Those city girls are.
The city girls?
That's a group.
I know.
Yes.
So the word ratchet really means kind of obnoxious, rude, trashy, kind of the opposite of classy.
Would not want to be described as such.
No, but I've heard women described as ratchet, and it's just they're kind of, I don't know, the terminology makes me think of someone who's kind of, I don't know, down and dirty, low class, kind of a girl, or maybe a guy.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Ratchet.
Yeah. There's a song called Ratchet by Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was probably from like 2 years ago or something. Something like that.
And it's like, it's a big twerking song.
Yeah.
I think if my mom saw that, she would die.
Yeah.
On stage.
I mean, anyway, I see it and I do.
And I'm just kind of like, okay, girls, I guess you can be on national TV and do all this, and it's fine because it's it's entertainment for some. That's my old fashioned side coming out.
Yeah.
I think.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah. If something is lit, what would it be?
Well, I know lit can be like, I remember walking down the streets in New Orleans with you, complaining because it's like 2 a.m. and you were making us walk down the street. And I was saying how we're walking down the street and it's not lit. Not that the street's not lit. We're not lit, but it just so even though we'd been drinking, it can describe that behavior. Like if you've been drinking, you're lit.
Yeah. So if you're lit, you could be drunk. It also can be describing a situation where like, oh my God, that situation was so lit. Yeah. Like off the hook.
Right. So
yeah,
it can mean a couple
so
things.
Fun.
Yeah.
So that's, you'll hear, and that's definitely something that I hear on the regular, just from people. And then of course there is keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah. And you see that a lot like on text, or you'll see where people are talking, or, they'll just say, I keep it 100. That just means that they're real, they're honest, they're straightforward, they're
legit,
not full of bullshit.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
They are someone you can plan on being honest about what they're talking about. Yeah. So anyway, did you have any others?
No, I just think, we need to high key, keep going with the podcast, because I know people like for sure know we're slaying it.
We're slaying it. There's so many ways we could use these words.
I know, in this little wrap up, but we won't. We'll just, keep it 100 and just stick to the basics. Are you a basic bitch?
I'm
basic bitch.
You are not a basic bitch.
A blonde, basic bitch.
Blonde, basic, bougie bitch. No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
People, she is so far from basic. It's not even funny.
But hopefully you had as much fun listening to all this as we had coming up with it. So some of it was enlightening for us. Some of it wasn't. But
hopefully it's enlightening for you, or you got a really good chuckle because you're like, I cannot believe that they're talking about that.
And if you don't know what a chuckle is, that's a laugh.
And if you don't know, now you know.
All right. With that, we'll sign off here. Check us out on our socials. We're on all of them. Don't even need to tell you what they are because you already know.
That's right.
And just know that we'll be there. Tell your friends about us if you like it. And hopefully you'll be seeing us soon.
Peace out, people.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.